So you're not entirely on your own, and you mentioned Percy there. So what's his role within this?
He's interrogating me.
Oh, right, OK.
He's the one who says to the... Because there's going to be 12 or 14 subjects that they can ask me about. You know, dynasty, Hollywood, filming, health, family, certain things. And so they can ask me a question, and then they can say, OK, so when did you first go to Hollywood? Or what was it like working with Paul Newman? Or how did you like working with John Forsyth in Dynasty? And all those kind of questions. As long as they don't ask, who was the best kisser?
Oh, but that's a good question.
You know what our next question is?
Who's the best kisser?
Who was the best kisser? Paul Newman.
Yay! There you go.
Of course. And the prettiest.
So Percy, who you say is the greatest love of your life, you've been married for, is it 12 years now?
No, we're coming up for 15 in February. God.
So, so having him on stage must be terrific for you, I would have thought.
It's wonderful. He's my rock. I mean, we are together 24/7, which I think says a lot for our relationship, because most marriages and most relationships, one or other of the partners goes out and works, but we're together all the time, and we get along really well. We are on the same wavelength about practically everything. We agree about practically, well, not everything. We have rows and bickering naturally and banter, and I put my trust in him totally.
You're very lucky to
I can't imagine you, sort of Dame Joan Collins, on the road. Touring.
On the road.
So how do you do it? What's the touring life for you? I mean, you're obviously not in a minibus and staying in a...
I've just been in a minibus doing that movie
Yeah.
that I was doing. We were in a coach full of retirees going from Portsmouth to Bournemouth to London.
So this is the time of their lives.
Yes.
And this is a script that you received that you said actually is one of the most exciting scripts you've received for a very long time.
Oh, yes.
So what was it about it that you loved?
Well, first of all, it's a wonderful role. It's a role for which I'm age appropriate, and it's with Pauline Collins, who I absolutely adore. You know, from Shirley Valentine, we've worked before, and it's about two women. You could say it was rather like Thelma and Louise, The Next Generation.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, two totally different women. I'm a washed-up actress, and she's an abused housewife who get together and decide that they have to go to France for different reasons. She to get away, me to go and find the daughter that I gave up 50 years ago.
You said, as you sat down here, and we were talking about it before we started on the telly, that it's one of the best roles that you've had in years.
Yes, it is. Yes, since Decadence, really, which I did with Stephen Burkoff, which was, gosh, that was 15 years ago.
Is there a shortage of, and you described it as age-appropriate roles, roles for a slightly more mature
slightly. Ever so slightly.
Is it harder to find those good parts?
Oh,
now?
gosh, yes. Yeah, because most films today are geared towards a very young audience, you know, young audience, mostly of young men, between the ages of sort of 10 and 30, so it's all shoot-'em-ups and explosions and car crashes, and they want to have young, teeny-weeny young girls in them, and they don't want to see films about older people, but
if they get
it's
it right,
changing.
The best exotic marigold hotel, sort of massive
Philomena,
absolutely.
and 45 Years, which they did, and there's a huge market now of what we call the grey pound, of women and men who want to go and sit in the cinema in the afternoon and evening and be entertained and not have to be shot at and their ears blasted out by explosions which are louder and louder and louder. I mean,
you work so incredibly hard. I mean, you always have since being a child, really. And I was reading, the film. You were 6 days a week, sort of 11-hour days, and now you quick turnaround and you're off on tour. And your energy, you just seem to keep going all the time.
I know. I don't need to. I've just had the lovely 2 weeks in the south of France, doing nothing but lying in my pool, staring at the sky. I really enjoy it, Holly. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't work. I would do something. I would work. I'm going to write another book, probably. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, of course, it's also whether it's one of the subjects that when you do unscripted, will you talk about Jackie? Will that come up in conversation?
If somebody asks me about Jackie, it's nearly a year.
Yeah.
I know she was on your show a lot.
Yes.
Yes, of course I will. I miss her terribly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I just wondered whether that was one of those areas that would be off limits, because it would be still too raw to talk about.
No, I have talked about it. I think, you know, grief is process. I mean, first of all, I think I cried for 2 or 3 months, 3 to 4 times a day. Then you get over that, and then you kind of accept it, but in a grudging way, and then you kind of think, why did it happen? And then I think there's a certain time when you even become angry, like, why did this happen? Why did this have to happen to her? I suppose the only good thing about it, not good thing, no, there's no good thing, but the only way that I can get around it in a way is that I spend so much time in Europe and she spends so much time in LA, so much of the time we weren't together, but so we were together like 4 or 5 or 6 months of the year, and so I can always think sometimes, you know, oh well, she's in LA.
Yeah, yeah.
For more of the same, just click here.
Did you initiate our Patrick into Britain? Was there any initiations on set?
We can't. Yes, well, it's embargoed. You can't really discuss the hazing and the initiation ceremonies.
Yes.
It's a dark Masonic.
Were they tough, Patrick? That's all I want to know.
It was what I needed to have at that time in my life.
He's better formed as a person.
Yes, I've grown so much in the last month.